Hi everyone, welcome to my channel on astrology and tarot. We're going to be looking at a compatibility chart. This is one of the most requested charts that I have had recently. It's on Elon Musk and Grimes. First, I'm going to be looking very briefly, just going to be giving a cursory look at the individual charts. We'll start from Elon Musk's natal chart. The time is not sure. We've taken a midpoint average time. The birthday is on June 28th, 1971. The sun is in Cancer, and as per numerology and even tarot, the number is 10, which is the wheel of fortune, which reminds us that the wheel is always turning in life and it's in a constant state of change. Now, the wheel of fortune is also known as the wheel of karma. It's what you sow, so you shall reap. Very broadly, I'm going to be looking at Elon Musk's chart, so there will be a lot of nuances which I'm not going to be talking about, because you can spend hours over looking at various aspects about how the planets are there. This is just to get a very broad overview of his individual chart, and even Grimes' chart I will look at it individually, and then we'll do a compatibility chart just to get an understanding of the compatibility quotient and what's really is going on. So we have a sun that is discordant to Uranus, and this speaks about somebody who's extremely independent, he's liberal, eccentric, unorthodox and rebellious. This aspect also brings about a lot of pride. It brings about selfishness and often a trait where you refuse to listen to anybody, and it also brings about a lot of erratic temperament. This aspect also speaks about tending to get involved with too many things that can scatter their energies. It can make the specific person, in this case Elon Musk, jump from one topic to another, or even one project or one subject to another so quickly that you often tend to really completely scatter your energies, and this also happens when the mind is really quick. It brings about a lot of impulsiveness, it brings about restlessness, it brings about a nervous energy, and also at times you will find that the thoughts are not really disciplined. There's a lot of freedom that is required because Uranus is discordant, it's with Sun. So Uranus is all about rebellion, it's about innovation, anything that has to do new with technology, anything that is innovative is something which will really draw this specific aspect to that person. So there is going to be a sense of always craving a lot of excitement, adventure and even discovery. They also could be a tendency to have an outrageous nature, wherein that you do things just for the sake of them being very scandalous, and you quite enjoy the attention that your actions would get. Not that they would worry the person so much, but it's just that you can get away with it, so you just have that outrageous nature with you. There is a need to want to change and reform everything, even if there is no better plan that is there with which that you can replace the existing situation. People may look at you as somebody who's really odd, or maybe from some another planet literally, but this is something which really doesn't bother him at all. There is a need to be developing an awareness for the needs of others, and also to be thinking about your own desires little bit less. This is an aspect which is Sun discordant with Uranus is quite common with people who are very innovative, who are leaders, who really make a big success out of their work. The emotional life is another story, but I think also primarily you are successful because you're always focusing, you're always thinking about what is it that you want, what is it that you want to create, you want to innovate. So the intellectual development will be far more ahead usually in these aspects than the emotional development will be there. The second aspect is, the major aspect is that Sun is discordant to Neptune. And this brings about a need to run away from your fears and the responsibilities. It can be that the moment that you're really stuck in an emotional situation or in a problem that is there, you'll quickly move on to some other subject or another product, another topic, so that you don't have to deal with something which is really could be causing you that strife. They can also be the fear of unknown, fear of something over which you do not have control. And over here, it at times that you do come across, whether there's situations in your life and your experiences that you have, that you learn through the hard way, so that you can be more cooperative, you can be more collaborative with the people around you. There can also be a lot of emphasis on accumulating material wealth over here, and this can cause you to lose sight over what is it that is really important. And it really speaks about a story of a person who gained the whole world but lost his soul. This aspect also brings about difficulty in trusting people. The third aspect is of Mercury, which is discordant with Uranus, and it speaks about somebody who's a lightning quick thinker, who's constantly coming up with new ways of doing things, an intuitive genius for originality, unconventional, weird, a bit eccentric, and somebody who wants absolute freedom of expression. Mercury is going to be bringing about new ideas, new innovations, the way that you converse. It could almost be, people could either be taken aback either by the directness or even at the quickness of the thoughts that are there. And because there is a likelihood of him grasping ideas, concepts, technology so quickly that there will be very little patience with people who are slow to catch up on. And an ability to understand scientific and mechanical theory as well is there. Mercury being discordant to Uranus brings about this ability to be really sharp intellectually, being very swift with your thoughts, being attracted to electronics, astronomy, metaphysics in general. And they also, this aspect in people also brings about a high strung and nervous temperament, and you can find it very hard to relax because your mind is on a constant treadmill 24/7. It's very hard for you to calm your mind down. Also, this aspect brings about a lot of boredom as well, because you get bored very quickly. You've thought of something, you've already processed it in your idea, and you want to quickly move on to the next thing, and you're trying to figure it out whether you can implement things and how fast that you can move. Travel is something which is extremely wonderful, and that is also something that opens up his mind, and which is about anything that is new that you can learn about, that you can think about. Now we'll have a look at Grimes' individual chart. She's born on the 17th of March 1988. The sun is in Pisces. She has a Scorpio rising, moon in Aries, and 17, that is also number 8 in tarot. In tarot specifically, it speaks about the star. It's a very beautiful positive card, and it follows the transformative energy of chaos, and it provides clarity to pursue your dreams with hope and optimism to reach your highest potential. And this card, or this the number 17, represents the elevated consciousness that sparks the creative energy, providing a promise that one can reach their highest potential because the future is hopeful and fulfilling. The number 8 also in numerology is the card of the number of strength as well. The first broad aspect is of sun, which is blending with moon, and over here it speaks about a tendency just to look at life, or look at your own ideas or your thoughts in a completely one-sided way. It's very difficult for you to be objective, and you may have little or no appreciation for other or different ways of approaching life. So it's pretty much either it's my way or it's the highway kind of a situation. You could feel that yours is the best way, and you cannot imagine as to how anyone else could be doing something which is absolutely different from yours. an extremely sensitive person, because you have moon very prominently placed over here, and you do not always take into consideration how your actions are going to be affecting other people. It's not that you are unkind, it's just that you're quite oblivious as to what's really happening or going on with other people's emotions. The second aspect is moon, which is discordant to Uranus, and it speaks about an emotional instability and erraticness of the moods changing at the drop of a hat. And this also speaks about somebody who's fiercely independent and hates being restrained in any way. This person loves anything that is bizarre, the unusual, unacceptable, and unconventional. And this aspect also brings about somebody who cannot stick to anything long enough and really get good at it. There's a lack of self-control as well, along with self-discipline, a craving for excitement, change, discovery, and you're also somebody who cannot tolerate a routine or a lifestyle. And you really look for excitement and adventure, things which are excitable, which are spontaneous, and you tend to be generally be very enthusiastic about everything that is and anything that is new. Also a tendency to do things on a whim. Your needs come before anybody else, and also I think this aspect tends to bring about some amount of an instability in your relationships, especially with women. So if there is a possibility of trying to control your unpredictable emotional responses to others, maybe this is something that could help. The challenge is going to be on how to control the sudden unpredictable emotional storms, because whenever that she would get emotionally upset, there is a possibility of acting absolutely without thinking. Somebody who's really high-strung nervous person and has trouble sitting still for any length of time. The next aspect is of moon being discordant to sun, and this speaks about somebody who's really ambitious, but the pitfall over here, ironically, despite both the aspects that we've seen earlier, which speak about somebody who's really doesn't care much as to what is it that people are saying or doing, and really focusing on their own personal self. But this aspect speaks about self-doubt, and it also speaks about having a low self-esteem and low self-confidence. And this could be also the reason why that people with this kind of an aspect are busy working so hard, because you're constantly trying to prove yourself to the world. You could be afraid of what you have, as little as it could be, and it could be your talent, and you could just be worried that it could be taken away from you, and this could bring about bouts of loneliness as well. There's one thing that you need to be keeping in mind with this aspect, that you really cannot buy love, you cannot buy friendships, and there is just no way around it but to be earning it. And also that people cannot really completely fully love you till the time you do not learn to completely love and accept yourself. So there could be this entire outside external shell that you wear, which is of this, I don't really care. And there are two different things. One is, of course, that you could be having whatever talent that you're putting out for the world to see, and really don't care as to what is it that people think about it. But then other is the emotional connect, over which that you could be really be sensitive as well. The main focus over here with this aspect is learning that emotional security is based on good philosophy of life, and really not on people. So even if you come across as somebody who's really takes a lot of time in sharing her emotion, or is aloof, but underneath it's somebody who's a really warm and an affectionate person who really is waiting to be discovered. We're going to be looking at the compatibility chart now, and I'm going to be looking at it very broadly, keeping in mind that we do not have the exact timings of Elon Musk's birth. So there could be little aspects that vary. So Grimes is Saturn and Elon Musk is Sun, and Sun is opposite to Saturn. So there are power urges and security urges which combine over here, and this can again be good or bad, depending again on a lot of aspects of the chart. And Grimes could slow down Elon Musk, but this could also be for Elon Musk's own good, because the way that he's in a constant mental treadmill, I think Grimes over here tends to remind Elon Musk more of his duties and responsibilities, and at times can be critical. Elon, on the other hand, does much to encourage and vitalize Grimes and can alleviate worries, fears, or other negative mental attitudes in Grimes. Elon Musk often has to wait for Grimes, who may be slow in some way or may seem like it to Elon Musk, to really catch up onto what is it that he's talking about. I'm sure half of the world does that. And Grimes depends on Elon Musk for inspiration and sometimes throws maybe a lot of responsibility on him, or can try to blame him for whatever troubles that are there. This aspect also, because we have Saturn, which is, can bring about depression, it can bring about a lot of responsibility, duty, create limitations, create a critical environment. So it can be that Grimes could be really get reminded a lot about things that maybe that she doesn't want to be thinking about, maybe really practical and realistic things. There is, however, a very strong loyalty between both of them, because a Sun-Saturn bond is a bond which is very hard to break. And often this bond we see in when there is a lot of age gap between both the partners. Most of the time, though not, you can't really say it in a generic bit, but majority of the time you have wherein that the woman is much more older, but in this case it's the other way around, and yes, the age gap is there. Grimes can have a confining influence on Elon Musk, and he may need lessons of discipline and patience to Grimes. So I think this balances out quite beautifully, wherein both of them do somehow have similarities in their chart, but out here, because the Saturn is with Grimes, so she is the one who's the disciplining partner, or I would say the partner that tends to bring about limitations, tends to be the teacher in the relationship. It is also in relationships, in marriage especially, if one person is not being flexible, that is Elon Musk is the Sun, if he is not willing to be adaptive or cooperative, then it can just bring about unnecessary arguments, or it can just bring about a lot of stubbornness in both the partners, because Saturn is trying to teach. Saturn is trying to make the partner learn from their own experiences, or maybe it's just trying to arouse the worries which it feels naturally with the planet by which it is governs. However, there should be a need for Grimes to be careful to guard against selfishness, criticism, coldness, unresponsiveness, and these are all Saturnian effects that are there. And because too much of pessimism, too much of confinement and limitation, if you try to do it on Sun, that is Elon Musk, is something which can just result in either somebody being completely unresponsive, or somebody just blocking you out completely. The next aspect is Grimes is Mars and Elon Musk is Mercury, and over here it speaks about a conflict wherein Grimes aims and has an aggressive spirit, and also she can question the reasoning tendency of Elon Musk. And Mercury is all about, it's conversation, it wants to talk, it wants to argue, it wants to debate. And Mars is all about, it wants to do. Mars is not interested in talking. So Grimes is all about action. She's saying, I don't want to listen to so much of conversation, so much of debate, and let's just go ahead and let's just do it. But Mercury, that is Elon Musk, wants to talk through the emotion, debate it, see all the sides of it, and wherein that Mars over there, that's Grimes, is, there's a lot of I would say along with aggression, there is a lot of impulsiveness. There's a childish impulsiveness without thinking of the consequences. The next aspect, we have Grimes, which has Sun, and Elon Musk has Pluto. And this is a very interesting aspect because you have creative urges which are conflicting with reforming urges. So reactions can be quite frictional, especially in a marriage and in a partnership as well, in a close partnership with your spouse, because wherein Elon Musk will that's the sign, that's Pluto. It will resist Grimes' authority, and it will bring about a lot of being demanding in a relationship, or even being quite not controlling, but you really put a lot of pressure on the other person to be in a certain way. And Elon Musk at the same time will also resist correction from Grimes, and at the same time try to change Grimes as well. So both of them are trying to do things which both of them resist most, and is at the core of both of them. So both of them want absolute freedom, not just creative freedom, but also emotional freedom, and very importantly mental freedom. And they do not like to be controlled, but they have planets which are aspecting, which will be bringing about such aspects that you try and sort of control the other person, either emotionally or mentally or intellectually, wherein that it could sort of affect that person's confidence at some level. In friendships, however, this aspect works. It's quite tolerable because you occasionally deal with your friends with this aspect, and you're not living with them, so it's a different situation. The next aspect is of Grimes' Moon, and Elon Musk is Pluto, and Elon Musk will tend to have quite a disrupting influence on Grimes, and this aspect often tends to create a lot of antipathy rather than agreement. And Elon Musk will seem contrary to Grimes, and his influence can be quite unfortunate in some ways, because this can lead to some misunderstandings, which can just cause family troubles, or it can just create some domestic disruption over there, because Pluto tends to bring up things from deep within. It can bring up things from the past, it can bring up things from your childhood, it can speak about how differently two people have grown up together with different values, with different ideas, and when they come together, they sort of try to bring their bit of it on the table. They try to project that and try to not consciously change their partner, but it becomes a very natural thing, something which you have grown up with, something which you have seen, something which is a part of you, something which has been an experience for you since the time that you were very small. You will project it on your partner as well. The next aspect is of Grimes, which is Mercury, and Elon Musk is Saturn. And over here, the aspect is of Elon Musk being very critical, exacting, disapproving and discouraging over here, and he may judge Grimes quite harshly, or even at times belittle the mental attainments and ideas of her. And also this aspect, because over here he has Saturn supporting him over here, so it can bring about limitations, it can bring about responsibility, reminding her of the duties or even of the consequences, and generally being very discouraging. And this is something which can make her feel quite resentful, unless and until that she can really protect herself spiritually quite well. So cooperation tends to be quite difficult with this aspect, because unless and until there are a lot of other sub-planets that are there, and they are in good aspect over there, but many of the challenges that Grimes may feel from Elon, they could just be quite, I think, frustrating and very frictional in dealing with him, because she will, I think, be more irritated and more frustrated on a regular basis, also because she is trying to I won't say change him, but also she's trying to sort of bring about that same limitation, that same burden of responsibility or of consequence onto him. It can be mental as well. And this is something that he is not ready for. He doesn't want to be confined. He doesn't want to learn. So it's a challenge that both of them are presenting to each other. There can be some issues in getting along harmoniously on a regular basis between both of them, because both of them at some point, and which we can say is very common in a lot of marriages, but I think with their specific chart, there will be frequent irritations, being very impatient with each other's idiosyncrasies, and just a general annoyance and impatience, with the other person's general mental outlook. The next aspect is of Grimes is Moon and Elon Musk is Sun, and over here again power urges are clashing with domestic urges, and they could differences as far as temperament is concerned, and again there may not be really serious issues over here or some serious differences, because we have a Sun and a Saturn bond, which we saw right at the beginning, but this speaks about inconsideration towards each other, at times being just very indifferent or even offending each other, and this comes more from Elon Musk's side, and without even intending to you're just so lost in your own world that you just forget about the reality that is there. And Grimes in this relationship will really have to guard against being too sensitive and taking trifles too seriously. So she will really have to not just protect herself spiritually, but I think at some level also to use humor and not to let her emotions get the better of her, and be really sensitive to all the reactions or any responses that she gets from Elon Musk. There are not just a particular, there are also other some very lovely aspects as well. We have Grimes wherein she has a Venus in Elon Musk's Sun, and it speaks about a wonderful social community wherein that you are jointly attracted towards you have mutual tastes, you like the similar kind of social communities, you may be having a similar set of friends, maybe you are attracted to similar kind of things, like you're generous to maybe similar social causes, and there is a lot of also unselfishness as far as finances are concerned towards each other, and it also speaks about being mutually inspiring and encouraging and cooperative as well. And this aspect also brings about a lot of mutual enthusiasm, I think, because both of them are always so excited about discovering new things, and they are always looking for the new, not just, I would say, getting bored with the mundaneness of whatever it is that is around them, but the mind and the heart is always happy to discover, to learn, and also to grow together. And this is something which is very beautiful in their relationship, wherein that they literally stimulate each other very well. There is the last aspect I'm going to look at is where Grimes is Jupiter and Elon Musk has Sun very prominently, and over here this speaks about mutual encouragement, it speaks about tolerance, forgiveness, and there is a lot of sympathy, protectiveness and loyalty and generosity and mutual trust and confidence. So I would say the chart is really a mix. I would still say that the 60% of it is frictional, wherein that it's a constant work at the relationship, with Grimes being too maybe emotional, too reactionary, too sensitive to Elon's responses, and Elon, I think, living in his own space and moving with the swiftness of Mercury, as he does. And I would say he has a lot of Uranian energy as well, which is innovative, it's dynamic, it's unpredictable, it's uncontrollable, it's chaotic. And while these are the qualities that attract Grimes to him, but on an emotional level, I think some amount of stability, some amount of maybe calmness is something which will do wonders for the relationship. It's been a pleasure speaking with all of you. I do hope that you enjoyed this compatibility reading. Do let me know in the comments below if there's another celebrity chart, compatibility chart that you would like me to read. I'll be happy to hear from you. I'll see you again soon. Remember to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell. I'm putting up a video every week now. I'll see you soon and thank you so much for watching.